Chosen one, listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is not a coincidence, it is not random, and it is not something you can ignore or brush aside like any ordinary message. If this has reached you before the 20th of September, understand something in your spirit. You have been divinely intercepted. Heaven has stepped into your timeline, and God is trying to warn you before something crosses your path that you absolutely must avoid at all costs. And if you feel that tug in your chest right now, that tightening in your spirit, that sudden heaviness or alertness, it is because your soul recognizes truth even before your mind processes it. For weeks, for months, maybe even for years, you've been sensing a shift, a tension in the atmosphere, a feeling that something is approaching, something you can't name, but something you can feel. You've been waking up with strange heaviness. You've been getting sudden anxieties that don't belong to you. You've been feeling emotionally drained for no logical reason. People around you have been acting differently, some pulling away, some suddenly getting closer, some showing strange interest in your life, and others showing unusual irritation at your presence. You've been having dreams that feel too vivid to ignore. You've been feeling your spirit being pulled in a direction you can't explain. And deep inside, you've been sensing that you are being prepared for something. But what you didn't know is that before September 20th, the enemy is planning one very specific thing, one strategic trap meant only for people like you, the ones who carry spiritual weight, the ones who carry destiny, the ones who carry the kind of purpose that hell fears. And I'm here to tell you exactly what that trap is. But before I reveal it, you need to understand why the trap even exists, because when you understand the why, you'll finally stop blaming yourself for everything you've been experiencing lately. Chosen ones never get attacked randomly. Hell is too strategic for that. Demons don't waste energy on people without purpose. Darkness doesn't chase after people who don't carry light. If you've been facing strange setbacks, strange conversations, strange emotions, strange tension, strange conflict, it's because someone, something, somewhere has sensed what is coming next in your life. Not by your actions, but by your atmosphere. Chosen ones shift the atmosphere without speaking. You irritate demons without touching them. You expose lies without trying. You activate conviction in people who don't want to change. You carry a frequency that darkness recognizes instantly. So if things around you have felt off lately, it's because your spirit is entering a season that hell wants to interrupt before it begins. And that interruption will come in one very specific form. A distraction disguised as an opportunity. A person disguised as a blessing. A path disguised as your next step. Between now and September 20th, you must be extremely careful, because the enemy knows you are vulnerable right now. Not weak, vulnerable. There's a difference. Weakness means you have no strength. Vulnerability means you have strength, but you are in a transition, and transitions are the devil's favorite place to attack. And you, chosen one, are in a transition right now. You can feel it. Something is closing. Something is opening. Something is shifting. Something is being rearranged in the unseen. And whenever God is about to lift you, hell tries to lure you. Whenever God is about to elevate you, hell tries to distract you. Whenever God is about to take you to the next dimension, hell tries to attach something to you that will weigh you down just enough to delay your rise. And that is exactly what the enemy is planning before September 20th. But here's the truth nobody told you. The trap is not big. The trap is small. The trap is subtle. The trap will come quietly, softly, innocently. It will look harmless. It will look almost God-sent. It will look like something you've prayed for, wished for, hoped for, waited for. But its assignment is not to bless you. It is to derail you right before your breakthrough. And you need to avoid it with everything in you. So pay attention now. The closer you get to a breakthrough, the more attractive the trap becomes. The closer you get to elevation, the more the wrong people become interested in you. The closer you get to clarity, the more confusion shows up in disguise. The closer you get to a blessing, the more counterfeits appear pretending to be the real thing. And right now, heaven is showing you this message because something is approaching you between today and September 20th. It may be a person, it may be a call, it may be a message, it may be an opportunity, it may be an invitation, it may be a sudden emotional urge, or it may be a decision that seems small, but its consequences will not be small. You must recognize it before it reaches you. You must discern it before you respond to it. You must avoid it before it attaches itself to your spirit. Because once it attaches, it brings delay, confusion, heaviness, stagnation, and spiritual fog. And chosen one, you cannot afford delay in this season. You cannot afford confusion in this season. You cannot afford emotional distractions in this season. You cannot afford spiritual fog in this season. Not now. Not at this moment. Not when you are this close. So listen to every word I'm about to speak next, because this is the part the enemy hopes you never hear. The part the enemy hopes you never hear is this. The trap coming before September 20th will not look like an attack, it will look like relief. It will look like comfort. It will look like something arriving at the perfect time, right when you are tired, drained, lonely, frustrated, or vulnerable. Hell is strategic, chosen one. The enemy doesn't throw distractions at you when you feel strong. He throws them when you're exhausted from holding on, when you're questioning yourself, when you're doubting your direction, when you're healing from something that hurt you, when you're craving clarity, connection, or comfort. That is exactly when he introduces the very thing meant to delay your destiny. And for you, that thing will show up before September 20th. It might be a person you've cut off suddenly reappearing, talking sweeter, sounding healed, sounding changed, wanting closure, or one more conversation. It might be someone you barely know acting like they suddenly understand you. It might be a friendship you walked away from because it was draining, now trying to pull you back. It might be an opportunity that looks perfect but is spiritually wrong for you. It might be a job that pays more but steals your peace. It might be someone trying to get close to you even though their spirit has never aligned with yours. It might be a sudden urge to return to an old habit you already overcame, a cycle you already broke, a place God already pulled you away from. And the reason it will feel tempting is because your spirit is tired. The devil knows you're close to your breakthrough. He knows the clarity you've been praying for is about to hit your life. He knows the connections meant for your next season are aligning. He knows God is about to reveal something that changes everything. So he is sending something familiar, not to bless you, but to bind you. And here's what makes it dangerous. It won't feel toxic. At least not at first. It won't feel dark. It won't feel harmful. It won't feel like an attack. It will feel like comfort, like warmth, like safety, like a break. It will feel like the very thing you've been craving during your emotional and spiritual heaviness. Because the enemy is not stupid. He sends what you desire, not what you fear. He sends what looks like healing, not what looks like harm. He sends what feels soft, not what feels sharp. He sends what feels familiar, not what feels foreign. But familiarity is the devil's oldest disguise. Eve didn't listen to a stranger, she listened to a voice already in the garden. Samson didn't fall because of a Philistine soldier. He fell because of a woman who made him feel safe. David didn't stumble on the battlefield. He stumbled in a moment of comfort on a rooftop. The devil rarely attacks chosen ones with violence. He attacks them with softness, because softness makes you let your guard down. And between now and September 20th, something soft is coming your way. Something that feels harmless. Something that feels small. Something that feels innocent. But chosen one, it is not innocent. It is not harmless. It is not small. It is a spiritual detour. And if you take that detour, you will delay the very thing God is trying to bring into your life. This is why you've been feeling restless lately. This is why you've been sensing something is off. This is why your sleep has felt strange. This is why your spirit has been uneasy even when your mind doesn't know why. This is why you've been feeling like you need to be careful with your choices, careful with your conversations, careful with your emotions, careful with your circle. You haven't been paranoid, you've been discerning. Your spirit already knows something is approaching. And God is trying to warn you before you accept something that feels good temporarily but harms you spiritually. So let me tell you exactly how you will recognize the trap when it comes. First, it will show up quickly, suddenly, out of nowhere. You'll be minding your business, focusing on your growth, your healing, your responsibilities, and then, boom, something or someone pops up unexpectedly. Second, it will come with emotional familiarity. It will remind you of something you once cared about, once loved, once wanted, or once needed. Third, It will create a sense of urgency. You will feel like you need to answer quickly, respond quickly, decide quickly, because urgency is the enemy's favorite tactic to bypass your discernment. Fourth, you will feel a subtle spiritual discomfort even if your emotions feel excited. Your spirit will whisper, "Pay attention," even if your heart whispers, "This feels nice." Fifth, after interacting with it, your mind will become slightly foggy, slightly confused, slightly unfocused. Not chaos, just a little distraction. Just enough to pull your eyes away from what God is trying to show you. And chosen one, this is the most dangerous part. It will not feel like an attack until it's already attached to you. That is why heaven is warning you ahead of time. That is why this message has reached you before September 20th. That is why you cannot ignore this. You must be spiritually awake during this window. You must be emotionally disciplined during this window. You must be mentally guarded during this window. Because once you entertain the distraction, it becomes harder to detach from it. And chosen one, you've come too far, endured too much, healed too deeply, shed too many tears, grown through too many battles, survived too many attacks to fall into something that is beneath your calling. This trap is not coming because you're weak. It's coming because you're chosen. And chosen ones attract both destiny and distraction at the same time. But only one of them leads to elevation. And right now, heaven needs you to stay focused long enough to reach the elevation God has prepared for you. So listen to what I'm about to reveal next, because the next part will expose exactly what type of distraction the enemy is planning to send before September 20th. The distraction the enemy is planning to send before September 20th will come in one of three forms, and your spirit will need to discern which one is assigned to you. For some of you, it will be a person from your past, someone who once had access to your emotions, someone who left you confused, drained, disappointed, or spiritually weakened, suddenly resurfacing with a gentle tone, a new story, an apology, or a request for your time. They may not come with chaos this time. They may come with softness, humility, or nostalgia, hoping to slip past your discernment by using familiarity as a weapon. They will say things you once wished they said. They will act in ways you once wished they acted. They will mirror versions of you that no longer exist. And the reason this is dangerous is because if you are tired or emotionally vulnerable, the past can look comforting even when it was painful. The enemy knows this. That is why he waits for emotional hunger before offering old food. For others, the distraction will come as a sudden opportunity, something that looks perfect on paper, something that seems to align with your desires, something that feeds your ego or your curiosity, something that promises quick satisfaction or quick reward. But spiritually, it will not align with your purpose. It will pull you out of position. It will drain your energy. It will change your priorities. It will swallow your time. It will keep you busy but not blessed, occupied but not elevated, active but not progressing. And you must understand this. Not everything that benefits you externally is good for you spiritually. Not every open door is from God. The devil opens doors too, especially when he knows you're tired of waiting. And the third type of distraction, the one many chosen ones fall for, is a sudden emotional urge, a wave of loneliness, a temporary craving for validation, a moment of weakness where your flesh wants comfort more than your spirit wants clarity. And in that exact moment, something tempting will appear, an invitation, a message, a memory, a desire, a thought, offering temporary pleasure at the cost of long-term peace. And if you're not careful, you will mistake emotional urgency for divine alignment. This is exactly why you need to be spiritually awake before September 20th. The enemy cannot force you to fall. He can only get you to agree with what feels good in the moment. And he knows that chosen ones rarely fall through sin. They fall through softness. Soft conversations. Soft emotions. Soft temptations. Soft loneliness. Soft distractions. But softness is the camouflage of sabotage. And if you let something small slip in now, at this critical moment, it can cost you months of progress. The devil doesn't need to destroy you if he can delay you. He doesn't need to break you if he can distract you. He doesn't need to stop your calling if he can get you to pause it yourself. And you must understand, the distraction coming your way is specifically crafted to your weakness, not your strength. It is personalized. It is tailored. It is targeted. It's the very thing you emotionally crave, spiritually outgrew, and mentally no longer want, but your flesh still remembers. And that is exactly what makes it dangerous. The devil doesn't tempt you with what you fear. He tempts you with what you secretly miss. And if you are not conscious, you will confuse craving with calling. You will confuse loneliness with leading. You will confuse attention with alignment. But you must stay sharp, chosen one, because this is a spiritual crossing point for you. What enters your life before September 20th determines what exits your life after September 20th. If you let the wrong person back in, you will lose the clarity God is trying to send. If you accept the wrong opportunity, you will miss the one that was heaven assigned. If you fall into the wrong emotional urge, you will restart cycles you already broke. This is why God has been isolating you lately. This is why conversations have been drying up. This is why people have been distancing themselves. This is why your emotions have been inconsistent. This is why old temptations have been resurfacing. You're not going backward, you're being spiritually tested. Heaven wants to see if you can recognize a counterfeit before God releases the real thing. Because this is not a season where you can afford to fail the test. Your next season is too important. The assignment on you is too heavy. The calling on your life is too specific. The battles you've been fighting have been too intentional. The warfare you've endured is too targeted. Something big is about to shift for you, chosen one. Something major is aligning. Something long-awaited is approaching. Something that will change the way you think, move, act, and operate. And hell can sense that shift even if you can't. That is why the enemy is throwing this distraction at you before September 20th, not to destroy you, but to keep you from stepping into that shift. Because once you step into it, the enemy loses access to you in ways he's had access before. Once you step into it, you will see with new clarity, which means old lies will no longer work. Once you step into it, you will outgrow cycles that used to control you. Once you step into it, you will become too focused for emotional traps, too strong for old temptations, too aligned for old patterns. And that terrifies the enemy. So he is trying one last time, one final attempt, to pull you back into something soft before God launches you into something strong. But chosen one, if you can resist this one thing, avoid this one trap, ignore this one distraction, you will unlock something powerful in your life. And in the final part, I'm going to reveal exactly what will happen if you avoid the distraction before September 20th, and the shift heaven has been preparing for you behind the scenes. The shift heaven has been preparing for you behind the scenes is far greater than you realize, and this is exactly why the warning was so urgent, why the message had to reach you before September 20th, why your spirit has been restless, heavy, alert, sensitive, and unable to ignore the signs. Even when you tried to distract yourself, even when you tried to stay busy, even when you tried to convince yourself everything was normal. Nothing has been normal, chosen one. Your spirit has been sensing what your mind hasn't fully understood. God is about to reposition you, redirect you, elevate you, and separate you from things that cannot follow you into your next season. Your life is about to shift so drastically that the path ahead requires spiritual clarity, emotional strength, and mental discipline. 3 things the enemy has been trying to drain from you. But if you avoid the distraction coming before September 20th, you will step into a window of divine alignment that has been forming for months. There are breakthroughs that were delayed because you were still tied to the wrong people. There are opportunities that were paused because your heart was still healing from old wounds. There are blessings that were withheld because your spirit wasn't fully ready. But by resisting this one trap, heaven will mark you ready. The moment you refuse the distraction, something will break in the spiritual realm. Something will unlock. Something will release. First, your clarity will return, sharper than before. That fog you've been feeling? It will lift. That confusion you've been battling? It will dissolve. That overthinking that's been tormenting you? It will quiet. Your thoughts will align. Your spirit will steady. You will feel mentally lighter, emotionally settled, spiritually grounded, because the enemy's access point to your mind will close the moment you reject what he sent. Second, your momentum will increase. Doors that refuse to open will swing wide. People who ignored you will suddenly notice you. Opportunities that disappeared will reappear but upgraded. You will feel a new push, a new drive, a new energy, a new focus. Things that took months will take days. Things that stressed you will suddenly be easy. Things that drained you will lose power. Heaven will accelerate you because you passed the test. Third, your discernment will sharpen, and you will begin to see people clearly, their intentions, their energy, their motives. You will realize who has been silently jealous, who has been silently supportive, who has been silently draining you, and who has been silently praying for you. God will expose hidden agendas, false connections, and counterfeit relationships. Not to make you bitter, but to protect you from bringing wrong people into the season that's blessing you. Fourth, your spirit will become stronger, and you'll feel a level of inner power that you haven't felt in years. You'll wake up with purpose. You'll feel motivated again. You'll feel connected to God again. You'll feel spiritually protected again. You'll feel guided. You'll feel covered. You'll feel chosen, not in theory, but in reality. The anxiety that once controlled you will lose its grip. The sadness that once visited you will no longer linger. The battles that once overwhelmed you will shrink. Because once the distraction is resisted, the enemy's access to your emotions breaks. Fifth, your blessings will begin aligning in ways you didn't expect. An unexpected message, a new connection, a breakthrough in finances, a door opening in career, a confirmation in spirit, a shift in relationships. Something big will move in your favor because you prove to heaven that you can be trusted not to sabotage your own blessing through emotional weakness. And chosen one, this next part is important. The moment the distraction fails, the enemy gives up on that strategy. He won't try to pull you back into that same trap again. He knows you've matured past it. He knows you see through it. He knows it has no power over you anymore. And the moment hell realizes it lost that access point, heaven releases what has been held back. This is why the test came right before the blessing. This is why the distraction is coming before September 20th. The enemy knows if he waits until after that date, it will be too late. You will already be stepping into your elevation. You will already be aligning with the right people, right opportunities, right timing, right spiritual direction. You will already be covered in clarity. You will already be protected in purpose. And he cannot reach you where you're going. So this moment, this window, is the last attempt to keep you tied to something beneath your destiny. And if you resist it, chosen one, something even more powerful will happen. Your identity will activate. You will stop seeing yourself as someone God might use someday, and start seeing yourself as someone God is using now. You will no longer question your intuition, you will trust it. You will no longer doubt your calling, you will claim it. You will no longer second-guess your decisions, you will move with confidence. You will no longer shrink yourself to fit in, you will stand in your truth without apology. And this shift inside you will radiate outward. People will notice something different about you. Your presence will carry weight. Your voice will carry authority. Your spirit will carry peace. Your energy will carry purpose. You will become someone who cannot be manipulated, deceived, guilted, or distracted the way you once were. You will walk differently. You will think differently. You will choose differently. Because you will finally understand that your destiny is too important to gamble with temporary emotions. Chosen one, if you avoid the distraction before September 20th, you are stepping into a season where God restores what was stolen, replaces what was lost, reveals what was hidden, and rewards what you endured. You are stepping into a season where the battle that nearly broke you becomes the testimony that elevates you. You are stepping into a season where everything finally begins making sense. You are stepping into a season where the very thing the enemy meant to delay you becomes the thing that accelerates you. And heaven is saying to you right now, stay sharp, stay grounded, stay focused, and stay aligned, because what's coming for you after this test is bigger than anything that has ever tried to distract you. Your season is not approaching. Your season is here.